Islam wars. Islam. I have to check some things. Because when I do a Facebook Live, I want to make sure I'm good with live. Islam wars. I'm just trying to make sure everything is good with the recording. So give me a second. I just want to make sure everything is pretty good with you being able to see me. And there's a little delay, so it might take a minute for me to see. Islam wars. Islam. Just trying to see if I can see my face. Because I can't see you. Oh, wait a minute. I think I see myself now. Islam. Happy Moon Day. I just want to make sure everything is good. The volume being able to see me, and there's a little delay, so it might take volume off. All right. Let's see. All right, so I gotta back up. I gotta make sure I stay back this way. I have to make sure I stay back this way, Morris. I want you to be able to see this more than you see me. So give me a second. I just want to make sure everything is all copacetic. Everything is all the way it should be. Islam wars. So what I'm going to read for the public notification as well for the Moorish nation, the Moorish American nationals that have declared and proclaimed their nationality. This applies to all Moorish American nationals, and it absolutely applies to the U.S. corporate wards as well. Islam? All right. Islam. So I'm going to stand back here so you can see me, because I think you see a little bit. Let's see if I can fix this just a little bit. Let's see if we can fix this. And I think I have to like do this thing. So let me see how the video looks. Give me a second. I want to see how the video looks. Islam. And we'll be going over record document MACN-R followed by 6 zeros, 187. Actually, it's 187. So I have a typo here because it's 187. That's what it is. That is the record number. It can be found in a file section of the Moorish American Consulate and Maxim NE group, and it also can be found on Scribd. As soon as I finish doing this video, I will absolutely positively upload the link to the Scribd public notifications for the entire earth. It's for the entire earth, as it is universal. Islam. I'm going to try to stand back as far as I can so we can get everything within this particular video and we have good video viewership. So let me just look over here real quick, and I think we do, and we do. So this is the public notification by the Moorish National Republic Federal Government. I, Vizier Mohammedan Judge Sharon Tracy Galbay, Moorish American National, am a member of the Universal Affidavit of Notification of the Acts of Aggression, Command for Damages, and Revival of the Acts of the Universal Postal Union under Moorish American Consulate record number recorded in the Northeast region under record number 187. So that's what that is, and you should be able to do a Google search and be able to pull this document right up to read it for your own information, as this is a lawful affidavit in writ from the Moorish National Republic Federal Government, specifically from the judiciary team, which there are at least 13 of us who go here and do all of the notifications in the affidavit. And always remember, affidavits that go unrebutted stand as law. And why is that? Because we are the sovereigns of the land and we make laws. We are the government. We are the law. So what is the mantra that everybody should already be well versed in? I will recite the mantra, which is to speak out loud the mantra of the Moorish American Nationals, to be able to stand on their square in personam jurisdiction and never talk about subject matter, because you are not a subject, so therefore you do not talk about subject matter with the subjects. And everybody identifying outside of their nationality, everyone identifying as a U.S. citizen is a subject to the Moorish National Republic federal government. Islam. So I'm going to move over just a little bit so you can see what I'm reading. I am reading this lawful notification to the world. From the Moorish National Republic federal government, the Moorish American Consulate, care of the mailing location of the West region, the West Amexem territory, my correction. This document is to the Universal Postal Union. It's at International Bureau, P.O. Box 312, 3000, Bern, 15, Switzerland, as well as to the Security Council of the United Nations, 760, care of mailing location, United Nations Plaza, New York, 1007, as well as to the General Assembly of the United Nations, the United Nations Office at Vienna, P.O. Box 500, 1400, Vienna, Australia. I am going to commence in reading the document. We are the Aboriginal, Indigenous, Sovereign, National, Divine, Moorish, National, American Nationals who are the Moorish National Republic Federal Government and the Moorish American Consulate. We are in proprio persona, sui juris, in proprio solo, in proprio heredis, at all times and at all points in time. We are the descendants of the great pharaohs of Kemet and of the ancient Moabites and Canaanites. We are the ministers, the creditors, the executors, the claimants, the trustees, beneficiaries, and the heirs of our own vast estate. We are in the jurisdiction of our ancestral inherited estate at this time and at all points in time, and we have declared and proclaimed peace on our land at all times. We are exercising all of our sovereign rights at this time and at all points in time. We are at peace at this time and at all points in time. Nothing in this lawful document, nor any other documents, nor verbal declarations or proclamations shall be construed to any other jurisdiction than the jurisdiction of our inherited estate. The intention of this document is that no United States corporation, company, citizen, nor any citizen, nor corporation has personam jurisdiction over the Aboriginal, Indigenous, Sovereign, Divine, National, Moorish American Nationals. We do not stand under the United Nations corporations as we are sovereigns and alive. The citizens or corporations who are violating the people who are the Moorish National Republic federal government on our land are under the United Nations corporations. Whereas we, the people who are the Aboriginal, Indigenous, Sovereign, Moorish National Republic federal government at North America, do hereby affirm that the United Nations and its agents and principals have performed and are currently performing acts of aggression, breaches of peace and threat to the peace on the land of the Moorish American people who are the government and the only government at Morocco. The United States and its agents and principals are in breach of the Declaration of Independence, 1776, the Treaty of Peace and Friendship, 1786 and 1836, and the Constitution for the United States, 1789 and 1791, and the charters of the United Nations, among many other international laws, where neutrality under the Charter of the United Nations is stated, the following is known and is hereby affirmed. Neutrality under the Charter of the United Nations. In the event of any threat to the peace, breach of the peace, or act of aggression, the Security Council of the United Nations is authorized under Article 39 through 42 of the Charter to make recommendations to call for the employment of measures short of force or force itself may also be employed in pursuance of the recommendations of the General Assembly of the United Nations. Whereas under Articles 42 and 43 of the United Nations Charter, a state may call upon to take military action against an aggressor, the Aboriginal, Indigenous, Moorish American sovereigns command international peacekeeping forces to take forcible measures against the United States and its agents and its principles, as we have declared and proclaimed peace on our land. Each Moorish American national who is the government has declared that they are part and parcel of the law of the Great Peace by way of judicial proclamation and by actions. The said sovereign government has notified the all uppercase United States and the lowercase in the proper English United States and its agents and principles of our peaceful existence. However, they continue to breach the peace, threaten the peace, and act aggressively towards the Aboriginal, Indigenous, sovereign Moorish American people of the land, despite our proclamations and nationalities and peacefulness. As pursuant to the inviolability of terror, the treaty provision states that the territory of neutral powers is inviolable. HV Article 1. Application of the rule. The following rule prohibits any unauthorized entry into the territory of a neutral state, its territorial waters, or the airspace over such areas by troops or instrumentalities of war. If harm is caused in a neutral state by the unauthorized entry of a belligerent, the offending state, my mistake, may be required, according to the circumstances, to respond in damages. We, the Aboriginal, Indigenous, sovereign people, who are the Moorish National Republic federal government, command that the United States, proper English, respond in damages in the amount of $2 trillion. This is lawful gold and silver backed lawful coinage, immediate, actual money. The said coinage is to be delivered to the Moorish National Republic to the Moorish American nationals by way of the Moorish National Republic federal government. Whereas belligerents are forbidden to move troops or convoys of either munitions or war or supplies across the territory of a neutral power. United States military and the militia and corporate policy enforcers doing business as police officers are hereby forbidden, outlawed, said movement or convoys as aforementioned on our land at North America. So you have to stop patrolling our streets. Where was I at? The belligerents have failed to provide proof of their identity and status while breaching the peace and acting aggressively, although the said status has been commanded by the people who are the Moorish National Republic federal government. They are in breach, and this government commands damages immediately as stated above. Whereas we have included with this affidavit the Universal Commercial Code 1 lien filed on August the 6th, 2018 at 10:42 a.m. with the United States Corporation Company as collateral to be placed before the nations of the earth so that the Universal Commercial Lien instrument can be sold. And anybody identifying as a United States citizen will be sold to the highest bidder in exchange for high quality food and services to be determined at the time of the exchange. Revival and nationalization of the organic Universal Postal Union. Whereas we, the Aboriginal, Indigenous, Sovereign, Divine, National, Moorish American people, are the Moorish National Republic federal government, do hereby place the Aboriginal, Indigenous, Sovereign, National, Divine Affidavit of Revival of nationalization of the organic Universal Postal Union on the record, for the record, and let the record show. The Organic Universal Postal Union and the Acts of the Universal Postal Union are hereby revived, reinstated, and nationalized to the status of living, natural, sovereign, and divine. Only gold and silver are to be used in payment of debts. We do hereby issue to the Universal Postal Union the sum of $500 million in gold and silver for allodial operating costs to be used in return to all post offices at North America to their organic operating status, to include issuing of gold-backed lawful money, orders, and stamps, and to publish the said changes. As such, Universal Postal Union peacekeeping forces are commanded immediately at North America to facilitate the protection and safety of the people who are the Moorish National Republic Federal Government and the Moorish American Nationals. The Americans, the true Americans, because Albions or modern Europeans or immigrants, you cannot, nor can you ever be an American, and you need to ask your parents why that is. Additionally, safe travel of the Moorish American people by all modes of conveyance, to include air and ground travel, are hereby commanded. The freedom of the Moorish American people who are held in prison as prisoners of war camps at North America is to be peacefully facilitated by the consuls of the said Moorish National Republic Federal Government. Furthermore, the North Gate at the Temple of the Moon and the Sun is the universal postal for parcels and commerce on earth. All administrators and corporations are notwithstanding. The said Holy Lands of North America, New Jerusalem, are not subject to any state or federal filings or reporting requirements, nor any state or federal examinations, inspections, or regulations, as we are the sovereigns and supreme laws of the land. We are not taxed, non-tax obligatory under AA 222141A1 Truth. The peaceful repossession, conveyance, revenuing of the Moorish American ancient, ancestral, sovereign, holy, inherited lands and property is commanded. All debts contracted and engagements entered into before the adoption of this treaty agreement shall be as valid against the United States under the Universal Commercial Union Treaty as under the Confederation. Whereas, in addition to this affidavit, we the people who are the Aboriginal, Indigenous, Sovereign, Divine, Moorish Nationals, Moorish American Nationals, and the Moorish National Republic Federal Government do hereby issue gold and silver to each and every Indigenous sovereign nation of the living, natural, divine, universal postal union. The aforementioned issuance of gold and silver to the said Indigenous member nations is in the amount to be agreed upon by treaty between the said Indigenous nations and the Moorish National Republic Federal Government according to universal needs of the said nations. All gold and silver is held in the national trust of the people who are the Moorish National Republic Federal Government and the Moorish American Nationals. We hereby issue the said affidavits of gold and silver from our vast estate. The full faith and credit of the Moorish American people is vested in us, the Moorish National Republic Federal Government, of which the people are part and parcel. Universal Postal Union Director General Bashir Hussain, you are hereby commanded to notify each of the 209 indigenous member nations of the earth of all that is stated herein, and that we, the people who are the Moorish National Republic Federal Government, will begin treaty meetings with each and all of the said nations immediately upon receiving this correspondence with stated times and dates of this arrival for the said treaty meetings. It will be an honor to meet with the sovereign nations of the earth. Arrangements for the said meetings can be made by sending the appropriate time of their choosing by mail to the Vizier Mohammedan Judge, Lightajiri Bay at the West Amexem territory, which can be found on the website at www.moorishamericanconsulate.org or at care of 911 Southwest 314th Place near Federal Way, Washington, Republic. Exempt. Each nation is required to live peacefully and to have and revive the organic treaty of peace and friendship agreements between them and all other nations of the earth, and are required to have their charters, are required as their charter the said treaty, the organic articles of the Universal Postal Union, and the Universal Constitution for the indigenous nations of the earth as their binding charter. All other commercial treaties and agreements are to be determined at will in the full disclosure and consent of the said indigenous nations. All corporations are excluded from this agreement of the Aboriginal and Indigenous Divine National Sovereign Moorish American people who are the government and who are the law. You are to provide copies of these documents to each and all who are participating in, have knowledge of, need to have knowledge of, aware or existence in commands. Those that you are to notify will include all corporations who are excluded. Attached to this notification are the following lawful command accompanying documents. All attached affidavits stand as law. And know that all of these affidavits, which there are 13, all can be read in their entirety from the actual document, which is located under MACNR -R followed by 6 zeros 187, as well as all of those documents have their own record number and can be traceable and can be downloadable not only from my personal Scribd account under Sharon Tracy Gale Bay, Moorish American National. It also can be downloaded from the files section of the Facebook group Moorish American Consulate NE Amexum. So you have multiple places, or you can send an email or a text message with your email address, and you will be given this document in PDF format. Now, the 13 lawful documents that accompany this particular affidavit, which is the Universal Affidavit of Notification of Acts of Aggression, Command for Damages, and Revival of the Acts of the Universal Postal Union under MACN-R followed by 6 zeros 187, are the following. 1. The affidavit of corporate death penalty, proof of death, revocation of all corporate charters, and revocation of all corporate trusts. Wet ink signatures of all 13 supreme judiciaries of the Moorish National Republic Federal Government, which are attached to the document. Those being Consular General and National Grand Sheikh Taj Tariq Bey, Consular General Shalay Amor Bey, Chief Vizier Judge Minister Lai Tajiri Bey, Vizier Judge Sharon Tracy Gale Bey, Vizier Judge Amor Bey, Vizier Judge Jiramor Aqua El, Vizier Judge Nazor Bey, Nazir Judge Nora Hamad Bey, Vizier Judge Abbasi Talib Bey, Vizier Judge Darius Hatfield El, Vizier Judge Tariq Bey, and Vizier Judge Amir Hussain L. 3. Affidavit of the National Trust of the Moorish National Republic Federal Government. 4. The Universal Religious Corporation Affidavit of Organization of the Temple of the Moon and the Sun. 5. The Religious Affidavit of Organization. 6. The Affidavit of the National Trust of the Moorish National Republic Federal Government. 7. Affidavit of International Trust of the Moorish Divine and National Movement. 8. Affidavit of Termination of Trusteeship. 9. Affidavit of Land Title, America Amexum. 10. Proof of service of the notice of the existence of the Moorish American Consulate and the Moorish National Republic Federal Government that was sent to all of the corporate governors of the United States Service Corporation. 11. The notice of existence of the Moorish American Consulate. And 12. The Treaty of Peace and Friendship 1786 1836, stamped, sealed, and signed at the Library of Congress. And that is the end of this document. Now, what am I saying? I'm saying everybody who's identifying as this. You're part of that up for sale because you are part of the United States Service Corporation Company. Nationality is the order of the day. If you identify as this, and you think that you're a law-abiding citizen, you're up for sale. If you don't believe me, well, I don't want you to believe me. I want you to know factually what I'm saying to be actual facts, not thoughts, not beliefs, not assumptions. If this is how you identified, and the reasons you identify under that is this. This is why you identify under that. Your birth certificate. If you will read your birth certificate, it tells you exactly who you're aligned with, because that is a declaration and that is a promise, a tribute your mother made. You were born out of the stargates free and clear. You were born, you were manifesting from the stargates of your mother's free. When your mother signed this birth certificate, she did 3 things to you. She first of all put you in slavery. That's one. And you know who you're enslaved to based on who issued the document. Well, first of all, your mother signed it. Your mother initiated the contract. Your mother initiated the contract with her filling out the application to provide this. What she should have done was a certificate of live birth or a record of live birth from her nation, her government. But because she did not know that and she was ignorant to the realities of the world, she aligned you to the corporate state through this birth certificate. So when she initiated the contract, she said, my child in writing, she did this, is now not free, but property of someone else. That's what she did when she signed that. And when you look at the document, look it up, go pull them out, y'all. The first thing that's going to be on that document is who owns her. What corporate state? So what corporate state would own you? So for instance, I domicile near the corporate state of Pennsylvania. So because I domicile near this corporate state of Pennsylvania, and my mother would have possibly did a birth certificate. So the so-called Commonwealth would have been a corporation that now owned the child that the mother initiated a birth certificate and made her property of the corporate state. So that's what she did. She made you property of the corporate state. She made you property of the corporate state because this is the header of that birth certificate. So it'll say the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, but know for the record and on the record that the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania Corporation Company has been liened out of business. But the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania would be now the owner of the child that was born free from the mother. What else is on the document? It's her signature validating that sale. Not only is it the signature validating the sale, it's a multitude of other information as when were you manifested out of her womb? That's one. Or particularly when did she sign the document giving up ownership or giving you your freedom up to the so-called United States Service Corporation. That's what mommy did. That's where that's the sin the child has to correct. That mommy put them in. So when you sit here and create a birth certificate, and you sell your child to a corporate state, you're literally killing them. So this birth certificate is a certificate of a corporation being established in a child, a natural being dying. Status is dead. That's why they call you black. It's a dead status. Don't believe me? I won't want you to believe me. I want you to know the truth and correct the sin your mother placed you in. And I could go over some definitions if you would like me to, but I don't want to. I want you to read some stuff for yourself. You know? The birth certificate application was a form. She filled it out. She recited who she aligned herself with. She was ignorant to all these things when she did it. Doesn't stop it from being factual, actual, and there being a contract putting you as a subject or property in somebody else's trust. So this is what Moors have to fix, who are classified as property of a corporate state under Negro colored black acts, as well as so-called white people. You're in the same situation because you are property. And because y'all all identify under this corporate fiction, now we have peace troops to come in to re-educate or give knowledge to the people as to what's really going on. Our affidavits stand as law and stand as fact. And unrebutted affidavits, they stand as law. And you can't rebut something if you can't even write nothing down because you're property of someone else. You can't even be seen or speak, even though you're voicing opposition or claims. They can't be heard because you got to fix your status. Islam? So, download this document, read this document, and Moors declare and proclaim your nationality, and Albion's stop miseducating your children to believe that they're American and that they have a standing and a status here at Morocco. They have no standing and status here at Morocco outside of property, and it's because of your hypothecation of our platform. It's because of what you did back in the early 1800s, neutralizing your standing in commerce, and you did that to your children, and you can't blame us for that. You did that, and you have to fix it. And you first start fixing it by first telling them they're not American, and second telling them they're not white people, and that they need to declare and proclaim some type of standing outside of those corporate fictions, because you can't stand on a lie anymore. You have to tell your children, your offspring, your kids the truth. They are not Americans, nor can they ever be Americans, and they are not white persons. Those are frauds, and that's proof of terrorism. And when the troops come in town, you will be confiscated for that. Pax et Amor, peace and love. Nationality is the order of the day. And if you don't have a nationality to speak of, you are a subject. But you have to get right, and you have to do what is required, which is return everything that you've stolen and stop being at war with the peaceful inhabitants of Morocco, which are the Moorish American Nationals. And I am Sharon Tracy Galbay, Moorish American National, Vizier Mohammedan Judge of the Supreme Judiciary of the Moorish National Republic Federal Government. Islam. Pax et Amor.